on Gretchen Fleming. So there is movement picking up in Ohio, and I don't know details. This is coming from the person who has done over 300 searches and has been one of the sources that we have followed here with Godspeed Ministries. And the last update that we got from her, about a month or two ago, I'd say it was about a month ago, she said that John Jason Pape, that we were looking very seriously at him because one of the neighbors across the road or beside him, I'm not sure which neighbor it was, and I have looked into addresses and stuff to try to figure this out. The neighbor has claimed that Gretchen Fleming was seen on John Jason Pape's property on December 5th of 2022, which was one day after she was actually missing. Now, nobody knew she was missing for about 2 weeks, I'd say. Well, maybe it was a week. It might have been 7 to 8 days after she was missing that it was reported. But if you recall, the Parkersburg City Police, they didn't actually do a search for her until 2 months after she was missing. So on February 4th, when it was bitterly cold, we had over 500 people searching at Mountwood Park for her. And the morning she came up missing, which was December 4th, that Sunday morning, at about 3 in the morning, the pipe had bust at My Way Lounge and Restaurant, which was the place she was last seen. And there was fecal material all over the basement at My Way Lounge and Restaurant because that big rusted brown pipe had busted, but it was only 26 degrees, so it should not have been cold enough for a big, large pipe to have bust in the middle of a restaurant. It's inside a building. Usually pipes don't bust until you get under 10 degrees, so we thought that was strange. And what was even more strange was the Parkersburg police actually had the two bar owners, along with the DJ who was there that night, sign off on a non-disclosure agreement. And that DJ, who has no real involvement, we have determined, in this crime, he didn't really see anything. He had actually flown down to Florida, as he does every winter, but the police had called him back from Florida to sign off on this non-disclosure agreement, which we thought was very strange. But like I said, it was determined from one of our cold case members that he did not have any involvement in this crime. I cannot say the same for the bar owners, and I have not been able to prove that they have had involvement, but it just seems very strange. Now, like I said, I've gotten an update that there is real serious movement in Ohio, so even though I've not been given specifics, this woman says that she cannot say any more about it at this time, but it sounds pretty serious. But to me, that speaks volumes on the Fleming case. The update that we got from her last time, like I said, was the neighbor had reportedly seen Gretchen Fleming alive on Pape's property on December 5th. What happened after that day, we have no idea. We still don't know if she's been trafficked, and if Preston Pierce has been working with John Jason Pape in a trafficking scheme, or if she has been murdered like the drug community has repeatedly said, and that she would be found in a barrel. Now, we have gotten another update on this Fleming case of a woman who has done a search a while ago, and also separately a man who has done a search a while ago in Fort Borman. Fort Borman is actually a park up on a small mountain, which would be on the way home for Preston Pierce. Now, the story was Preston Pierce dropped her off at an intersection by the police station, and he has said that numerous times. Now, earlier on in this case, I had opened up communication with Preston Pierce, who was largely the person of interest in this case, on TikTok, and he had communicated to me that after he had dropped her off at an intersection by the police station, he returned back to My Way, and at that time, John Jason Pape, who had Gretchen's belongings, her purse, which contained her cell phone, which was not passcode protected, it was unlocked, along with her credit cards and her purse, and also the DJ, Lee Mullins Sr. Preston Pierce said that both those men were at his car and looked through it to make sure Gretchen wasn't in there. But that's just coming from Preston Pierce, and our other cold case team member, the one who said that Lee Mullins Sr. had no involvement in this case, has believed that Preston Pierce was lying on this, along with two other of our cold case team members. They both said Preston's lying about this. We can't believe what he's saying. He is the person of interest. and that's not really to be believed. I had more of an open mind on it. I kind of believed it, as well as the woman who did over 300 searches on it. So we don't really fully know what to believe. At this point, I kind of believe Preston was lying about that. And we have another cold case team member who has come to us, and I have talked about this before, who has stated, allegedly, that Preston Pierce has raped her. And this happened around, I believe it was the Huntington area, years and years ago. She woke up sore and had missing time of about 2, maybe 3 days, upon which Preston Pierce threw her out in a snowstorm and left her for dead. Another woman that was reportedly living with Pierce at this time rescued this woman. I'm not going to give her name, either one of them, but this other woman had rescued her, and that is really the only reason she's probably alive today to tell this story. Now, that is not the only time that we have heard that Preston Pierce has raped a woman. The woman who did 300 searches for Gretchen Fleming has allegedly heard that Pierce may have raped a Vienna police dispatch woman, to the point which, when she woke up, she was reportedly drugged, and the story goes, at My Way Lounge and Restaurant, again, that this woman, who was a dispatcher for the Vienna Police Department years and years ago, came out and told this story, but then she later recanted the whole thing and said, no, it's not true, she made it up. I never believed that. I think this story is true, and that Pierce did rape again and drugged another woman, is what I believe. Now, this is all alleged information. I can't prove it. I don't know for a fact. Right now, it's just speculation. But that story did come out, and when that woman woke up after having been drugged at the My Way restaurant, at first she felt flushed, went to the bathroom, didn't know what was going on, and then she started feeling really, really hot. Well, she started putting her trust in Pierce. He said he would give her a ride home, and then she didn't know what to do. She didn't know what was happening. She trusted him, and then next thing she knew, she woke up wearing a princess costume, bleeding out of her vagina, upon which Pierce reportedly said, honey, don't flatter yourself, you ain't the first, and you won't be the last. Now, again, I don't know if that's true. It may not be, but I believe it probably is. Okay, I've reported on this story before, and it is important to tell you that Preston Pierce has had no contact with me for at least a year, and it's probably been longer than that on TikTok. We've went through the information he's provided us with a fine-tooth comb, and he wasn't really supposed to be talking because he had a non-disclosure agreement, so he wasn't really providing a whole lot of information, but he was giving us bits and pieces on his side of the story, and I thought maybe the police were framing him, which is confusing because I also thought the police were protecting him. You have to understand, Preston Pierce was a police officer for about 5 or 6 different police departments in our area, okay? And he's never been charged with a crime. So if these rape stories are true, and they hold serious merit to them, why hasn't he ever been charged? You know, I mean, there are so many stories of this guy supposedly being a creep in and around our area, and another bit of important information for you guys is that we're getting information that he's actually back in our area. So, 2 conflicting stories on this. The woman who's done the 300 searches for Gretchen Fleming, she told me she believed that Pierce was living in the Barbersville area, which is a town down by Huntington, where he's been this whole time and kind of just been like staying out of the limelight, so to speak. We've been getting different and conflicting information. It appears that he is actually living closer to Parkersburg in the Belleville area, and he is going to, I think it's James IGA. There's an IGA grocery store out there in the Belleville area that's pretty close to Parkersburg, and he has been using different names when he's been putting these orders in. Well, get this. One of the names that he's been using, John Jason Pape. And there's been real traction and movement from the police on the case of Gretchen Fleming in the Ohio side right now. So we're going to get some updates on this very soon for you guys. Right now we can't say any more, and I don't have any more information. Everything I have is what I just disclosed to you guys. That's everything. My goal all along has been to get the community involved. That way we can find answers. That way we can get people searching. Now, I talked about Fort Borman, okay? That's not where the police did their search on 2 months from her disappearance date of December 4th to February 4th. They did their search at Mountwood Park. Nothing was found. they had a tip that Pierce was over there, and he was over there because he was dropped off by a guy, and that's a long story in and of itself. I'm not going to get into the specifics of that, but nothing was found at Mountwood Park out on Route 50, but there was something found at Fort Borman. A guy who does metal detecting found a black jacket not long after Gretchen disappeared, and he wanted me to go back and check. And I've never been able to get back up there because I worked 3 jobs, and I've now got a pinpoint location of where that black coat was found, and I want to see if it's still there. And he wants me to go up there, so I'm going to try to make it up there this week, here in the next couple days, now that the snow has melted. See if that black coat's still there. But not only was a black coat found on Fort Borman's Hill at that park, there was also an orange barrel lid with an orange ring around the lid was found there. Well, the drug community keeps saying that Gretchen would be found in a barrel. Whether she's burned or whether she's just put in there, remains and bones and all, I don't know. If she's dead, we don't know that she's dead. That's what the drug community keeps telling me. But they're saying that she's going to be found out at oh, um, the state park over by Newport, Ohio. So that's a different location. I don't know, but this tip needs checked up on. And there's also a hidden tunnel that the metal detector guy found. He took pictures of it. So I'm going to go back out there this week. I'm going to see what I can find. I've got pinpointed locations of where the black coat is, and I'm going to try to sync up with the woman who found the orange metal barrel and a Mustang, an iron Mustang symbol. I guess it's off a car or something. I don't know. She thought there was relevance to it. So right now, that's all I've got on the Gretchen Fleming case. We're 12 minutes into this video. I want to move on to a couple other cases and give them a little bit of credence too. Today marks the anniversary, the 16-year anniversary of when Kimmy Sue Jones, or Kimberly Jones, came up missing. Now, I'm not the expert on this case. We've got one woman who is digging hard into this. She has provided all the information that she has assembled on Kimberly Sue Jones, who's been missing 16 years ago today, February 3rd, to Melissa, who runs a group called Safe Haven. That video is set to come out here in a couple weeks, and it's going to be a really good video, and I encourage you guys to look up Safe Haven on YouTube, and I'm not sure, I think she's on Spotify as well, and try to dig into that and learn about the case of Kimmy Sue Jones. Surface information I can tell you real quick is that Jack is the ex-husband, and it is believed that Jack is the one who may have murdered her. Kimmy Sue Jones came up with her daughter and had dinner with Jack and his new wife 16 years ago today. And not long after she had that dinner, she came up missing, but it wasn't reported she wasn't reported missing until 5 days later by her mother, who has not had any contact from her since 5 days ago from when Kimmy Jones had the dinner with her ex-husband, Jack. Now, we don't 100% know that Jack is guilty. We think he is of murder of her, but we don't know that 100%. And Kimmy Sue Jones has a son by the name of Tyler, who the woman in our group, the West Virginia Cold Case team, has been in contact with Tyler, but Tyler has been raised by the father, Jack, and of course, Jack has given him all his information, so Tyler doesn't know that Jack is guilty, his father, of this crime. Tyler is getting closer to maybe pushing this investigation along, but we can't really do a whole lot until we get Tyler's permission, and really Jack's permission. We can't go searching on Jack's property or anything and stuff like that. So just know that today is the 16-year anniversary of when Kimmy Sue Jones was reported missing by her mother, February 3rd, which was 5 days after she had that dinner and came up missing. We have another case to update a little bit on regarding Judith Petty, or Judy Petty, and she came up missing, and I'm not so well versed on her case. I can tell you bits and pieces. She came up missing in, gosh, it's been even longer. It's been several years, but the story of Judy Petty, I think she was 47 years old, and she went to the Parkersburg Library on North Side on Emerson Avenue, and it was reported that she would have walked all the way back home to, I believe it was Walker, West Virginia. And there was a barn that burned up that night. But she had apparently gotten a ride from somebody, a person of interest in this case. And while it's not proven she got a ride, it appears to be the case that she hopped in a vehicle, was in contact with somebody, a man, and gotten a ride from him, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, the barn burned down. Well, her remains were found in that barn. Fire. A couple days after the fact, I do believe, by the investigating fire department. And to this day, we still don't have concrete information, but I think Safe Haven has looked into this case as well. And we are trying to dig. Like I said, I'm not the expert in this case. I have devoted most of my available time to Gretchen Fleming's case. And I've gotten to be quite the expert on that case. But when it comes to Judith Petty, the anniversary was a couple weeks ago on her, to where she had her birthday. Might have even been a week ago. So I just want to give you guys information on Judy Petty and Kimmy Sue Jones. Gretchen Fleming, we've got major movement, and expect an update here in the next coming couple weeks here on Gretchen Fleming. We may have a big breakthrough on this case, on what's going on. Keep looking at John Jason Pape. I keep telling you he's involved, and it is my belief that he may have either murdered or helped traffic her. We still don't have an answer for you, but there is major movement going on with the police on the Ohio side in Gretchen Fleming's case. One more case update before I go. Taylor Tibbs. Her mother is still pushing for justice on that case, and Taylor Tibbs is connected to the Gretchen Fleming case. It is very, very deep. It is very, very murky. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but she demands and deserves your justice and your attention on this case, because she came up missing exactly 1 year after Gretchen Fleming came up missing, and they were both 27 years old. That's very important. It cannot be overlooked. Major players in that case: Earl Jones, Aaron Mitter, even though there is one source close to us that says Aaron Mitter has nothing to do with Gretchen Fleming, and I believe her on that. I don't think he has anything to do with Gretchen Fleming. He was in jail when she came up missing. But in regards to Taylor Tibbs, I think he was involved. I don't think he was involved with her murder. I think he was the first one there after she was murdered. I think you need to be looking at Earl Jones and Roberto Dunn. Now, I had previously cleared Roberto Dunn of any involvement in this case. I'm starting to backtrack a bit on that. He was the only one home. Earl Young Jr. was not home when this happened, but it is believed, through our speculation, that Earl Young Jr. may have arranged for Amber Clark to have murdered Taylor Tibbs. Okay, again, this is 1 year after Gretchen Fleming came up missing or murdered on December 4th of 2023. Her mother demands justice. This is big news, because the Wood County Sheriff's Department did not even do an investigation. Legally, it is their duty and requirement to investigate this, and they never did. They never did. And the big problem with this is the hospital, when they picked her up, said that she had been, they hooked her up to a machine. Well, why would you do that? She had been dead for hours. She was cold and everything. So I don't know. We did work on that and found out that she was dead before, and there was no reason to hook her up to a heart pump or anything like that. So Wood County Sheriff's has lied about it multiple times, about not receiving the certificate of death or the toxicology screen. They got it, and they lied about it, and that's a lawsuit waiting to happen right now. This is big news involving Rick Woodyard and the Wood County Sheriff's Department. There is major corruption going on right now, and we're going to have updates on this for you. We are not giving up on this case. It is big news, and Taylor Tibbs' mother is not giving up on this case. So we will keep digging. We will get answers for you, I promise. But stay tuned for all that. Those are 4 cases right now we are updating you guys on. So this video is about 20 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and let it go. I don't want to take up any more of your time. Just know that we're going to continue to dig. And Gretchen Fleming case, we're going to have some updates for you. We're going to have some updates on Taylor Tibbs. And we've got anniversary updates on Judy Petty and Kimmy Sue Jones. Today is Kimmy's 16th anniversary of her being reported missing. And our heartfelt prayers continue to go out to these families. They deserve justice, and we're going to demand it. And we're going to continue to try, through the West Virginia Cold Case team, to try to make Parkersburg as safe as we can. I know we don't have a lot of power. I'm not even licensed yet as a private investigator. I'm going down that road. but I'm trying to do what I can. Again, Preston Pierce is believed to be living close to the Parkersburg area. This is big news up in Belleville. And he is putting in false names for when he puts in orders at the James IGA station store. I believe that's the name of it. So hang tight, guys. We're here for you. This is big news. It's all case updates, and I appreciate you guys giving me your time. Continue to subscribe to our channel, and we're going to get you more updates. Until then, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. Continue to get together and help come to our crime chats. Look them up on Facebook Messenger. We do screen people. I put that in charge of the women who run our crime chats. I do have links somewhere. It is a public group. You can kind of look it up, West Virginia Cold Case Team. Hopefully you can find that. Thanks again, everybody. Let's work together and try to solve these crimes in Parkersburg, West Virginia.